Hey guys, welcome back to another Junk Journal with me video. As always, I'm starting out this process by just choosing a page to journal on. So I always like to pick a page in my journal depending on the patterns and the type of paper and pages that it has. I just picked this one in the middle with the butterflies. I have a couple of photos here that are recent, and then I also have a little pile of photos that are older. And then I also have some of my vintage linens that I printed out 4 to a page. So those are the smaller ones, and then I printed some more out 2 to a page, so they're a little bit bigger. That just gives me a nice variety to work with. So the larger ones are nice for backgrounds and the smaller ones are nice for journaling spots. Then I also have this little book, and I'm just looking through and seeing if there's an illustration I can use to sort of kickstart my journaling today. I don't really have a particular story or a particular memory that I want to document or journal about, so I'm just seeing what direction it goes in and just sort of playing around and seeing where it takes me. I pulled out these 2 images. I really liked this one with the swing. I also liked the one at the seaside, but I think I pulled that out because we went to the beach over the weekend, but I haven't printed any photos. I don't think I even took any photos over the weekend, so I didn't really have anything to go with it. So I went with this swing illustration, and I was just looking through my older photos and seeing which ones fit. So I was tossing up between the photo of my daughter in the swing or a photo of me and my daughter in front of this pretty flowery bush. I liked them both for different reasons. So obviously I liked the swing photo because it's very literal. It goes with the little poem that says the swing on the page itself. And then I also liked the other one because the colours and the leaves sort of blended into the illustration. I ended up going with the photo of my daughter in the swing, and I thought I would stick that on top of the text in the illustration and it would make like a little frame around the photo. So I glued the illustration straight down onto the page with my glue stick, and then I'm just going to attach that photo straight on top of the text, and I left the little title that said the swing uncovered, so it's kind of titling the photo. Now I'm just looking through some of those vintage linens that I printed out. These are all printed on sticker paper, which kind of makes the printables a little bit darker than what they are if you print on normal paper, but I really like the convenience of printing them on sticker paper. So I'm just playing around with a bunch of those and seeing if there's any of them that I can add to the page. I didn't really like the way it looked covering up the illustration, and I ended up going with this half linen. It's a pretty green color, and I just stuck that along the top edge of the page, and that will just give me some journaling space on top of that butterfly paper. And then I was just toying around with the idea of adding another linen underneath that to give me a little bit more journaling space, but I didn't really love the way anything was looking, so I worked my way onto a different page, and I'll come back to that later. So on the page behind that, I ended up taking this junk mail envelope, and I'm just cutting the edges so that it can open out and reveal the blue pattern that it has inside. And I'm going to use this to make a pocket over the back of that page. So it's just plain white, and I didn't want it to be. So I'm going to use that junk mail envelope to create a pocket. I'm just working out how I want it to sit, and I wanted it to sit sort of covering that entire page, so I'm just folding it down where I need to cut and then just trimming off the edge with a ruler. Again, just playing around with some of those linens and seeing if any of them look nice on top of the pocket as well. I liked best the way this blue and white one looked, and I thought that it would make a nice photo frame for a photo. So I have this photo of 2 of my cats, and they're being super cute, and the colours also kind of match. So there's blue and white in the photo, which matches well with the papers. And so I'm just trimming the photo down so that it would fit well inside that linen frame. And I know I'm going to stick that on top of that envelope paper. Then on the opposite page, I wanted to do something there as well. So I have this other linen that I printed a little bit bigger, and it's got a little cat embroidered on it. And so I'm going to use that right across the page. So I'm going to stick it on the book page, and then it's going to overhang the pocket just a little bit. So first I have to stick the pocket down. I'm doing that with double-sided tape, so just double-sided tape on 3 edges, which creates a cute little pocket. And then I'm just taking that other linen with the cat, and I'm going to stick that across those 2 pages, so it just overhangs both pages. And then just on the edges of that linen, I didn't want it to stop and start so harshly, so I'm taking these little border pieces. These are printables from Molly's Mantel. I've mentioned her shop before. I'll link it down below. These were already cut for me. I was going to use them in another journaling spread recently, so they were already ready to go, so I just used those along the edges of the linen, and I think it just makes it look a little bit softer around the edges. Now I have a couple of papers from my shop, so these are printable scrapbook papers. The cut apart sheet is from the Sweet Pea fundraiser pack, so all the proceeds from that pack go to Sweet Pea Animal Hospital and Rescue. They go to the rescue side of it, and I'll link that down below. That's the rescue that I volunteer at. The other paper that I'm using and trimming down is a patterned paper from Wish Garden, which was the first illustrated paper pack that I did. So I just trimmed that down to fit over the edge of the page. It just sort of covered up the edges of the linen where the trim didn't cover. And then going ahead and sticking down that blue and white linen so that I can put the photo of my cats inside it. Just looking at that cut apart sheet and seeing if there's any pieces I can include on this page. The page is already pretty full, so it's kind of hard to fit most of those pieces. I did print it on A3 paper, so the paper's about 12 by 12, like normal scrapbook paper, but you can also print it on A4 paper. I chose this journaling card with the little girl in her bed with the kitty cat on her lap, and I just trimmed it out so it's a circle shape, and that just fit nicely at the top of the page. I have this tag from some wallpaper that I bought recently on Etsy. So it's like a little thank you note from the seller, and I'm just going to tuck that into the pocket. And it was a little bit too long, so I just trimmed off the edge of it just so that it wasn't hanging out quite so much. Then going back to that butterfly page, I definitely felt like it wasn't finished. It felt like there was a lot of blank space there, but also I didn't want to cover up all the butterflies. So I'm just trying to work out what I can put on that page, and I decided to do like a little cluster of things along the bottom. So I used a scrap of that junk envelope paper along the bottom, and then I just stapled a little vintage playing card with the house on top. I just liked the way the yellow popped and complemented the other colours on the page, and I just stapled that straight down. I just had to be careful of the pocket on the back side of that page because I didn't want to close it up and affect it in any way. Now I'm just adding some stickers. This is always like the last step in my process. So I'm just adding some stickers to fill in any little gaps and just to embellish the page a little bit more and add a little bit more details. I liked the way those photo corner stickers looked on top of the photo of my daughter on the swing. I felt like it just made it pop off the page a little bit more. And I also like to use lots of tiny word stickers around photos and around my journaling because I feel like it helps add more journaling and it helps annotate things. The stickers that I'm adding aren't necessarily making a whole lot of sense. They're not necessarily matching with the journaling 100%, but I'm just adding them because I think they look cute and I think they fit well on the page. You can see all the places that I've added some journaling as well. So right on top of the linens and on top of that envelope pocket and just everywhere that I left myself room to journal. Adding a couple more stickers here and there, and that is the finished spread. So it was a really simple one today. I really felt like journaling, but I didn't necessarily have anything in particular that I felt like I wanted to journal about. So sometimes it's fun just to sit down and see where it takes you when you're just playing with paper, and you don't necessarily have to have a purpose in mind every time. But yeah, I think it turned out really cute. I hope you guys enjoyed watching my process, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!